Preparing for a most repeated personal interview questions interview? You've reached Candy Mentor, and this video is for you. We'll walk through 15 key questions you're likely to face. For each one, you'll see what the interviewer is testing, the core concepts you should cover, and a sample answer. Subscribe, like, and share, and drop a topic request in the comments. Question 1. Tell me about yourself. The interviewer wants to assess your communication structure, career clarity, confidence, and whether your background logically connects to the finance or accounting role you are pursuing. While answering, focus on your education, relevant experience, technical exposure, achievements, and motivation for the role. Keep it chronological, concise, and clearly linked to the job. I'm a finance graduate with strong interest in accounting, valuation, and financial analysis. During my internships and projects, I worked on financial statements, ratio analysis, and Excel-based reporting, which helped me connect classroom concepts with real business decisions. I'm comfortable with numbers, deadlines, and detail-oriented work. Over time, I've realized I enjoy roles where accuracy, analysis, and business understanding come together, which is why I'm excited about this opportunity. Question 2. Why do you want to work in finance or accounting? This question evaluates whether your career choice is intentional, whether you understand the function's importance, and whether your interests match analytical, detail-oriented, and deadline-driven work. In your answer, talk about your interest in numbers, business performance, decision-making, financial statements, controls, and analysis. Avoid saying only that finance has good growth or salary. Finance and accounting appeal to me because they explain how a business actually performs. Revenue, margins, cash flow, working capital, and controls all tell a story beyond the surface numbers. I enjoy analyzing that story and making information useful for decisions. I also like the discipline required in this field: accuracy, timelines, documentation, and professional judgment. That combination of analysis and responsibility is what makes this career path attractive to me. Question 3. Why are you interested in this role? The interviewer wants to assess whether you understand the role's responsibilities, whether your skills align with them, and whether your motivation is specific rather than generic. Make sure to cover the role requirements, your relevant skills, learning goals, and how the position fits your career direction. Mention specific tasks like reporting, analysis, reconciliation, or client support. I'm interested in this role because it matches the work I want to build expertise in: financial analysis, recording, reconciliations, process discipline, and business support. I've developed a strong foundation in accounting concepts and Excel, and I want to apply that in a professional environment where accuracy and timeliness matter. The role also offers exposure to real transactions and stakeholders, which would help me grow from technical execution into stronger commercial understanding. Question 4. What are your strengths? This question evaluates your self-awareness, role fit, and ability to support claims with evidence, rather than giving generic personality traits without business relevance. Be sure to mention 2 or 3 strengths relevant to finance roles, such as analytical thinking, attention to detail, ownership, Excel skills, communication, or meeting deadlines. My strongest areas are attention to detail, structured problem solving, and ownership. For example, when I work on financial data, I don't just complete the calculation. I check assumptions, tie numbers back to source documents, and look for inconsistencies. I'm also comfortable breaking a large task into steps and tracking progress against deadlines. These strengths are useful in finance because small errors can affect reporting quality, decisions, and stakeholder confidence. Question 5. What is your biggest weakness? The interviewer is testing your honesty, maturity, self-awareness, and whether you are actively improving a limitation without revealing a weakness that directly damages role performance. While answering, choose a real but manageable weakness, explain its impact briefly, and show the steps you are taking to improve. Avoid cliches like perfectionism without evidence. Earlier, I sometimes spent too much time double-checking work because I wanted every detail to be perfect. That was useful for accuracy, but it could slow me down when timelines were tight. I've improved by setting review checkpoints, using checklists, and prioritizing high-risk areas first. This helps me maintain quality without overworking every small item. I still care about accuracy, but I'm becoming more efficient in how I manage it. Question 6. Walk me through your resume. The interviewer wants to assess whether you can present your experience clearly, explain transitions logically, and highlight the most relevant achievements for the role. In your answer, move chronologically and connect education, internships, projects, certifications, and skills. Emphasize outcomes, finance relevance, and why each experience prepared you for this position. My resume starts with my finance education, where I built a foundation in accounting, corporate finance, and financial statement analysis. I then applied those concepts through projects involving ratio analysis, company research, and Excel modeling. In my internship, I supported data preparation, reconciliations, and reporting tasks, which improved my accuracy and time management. I've also focused on strengthening Excel and financial analysis skills. Overall, my experiences have prepared me for an analytical, detail-driven finance role. Question 7. Describe a time you worked in a team. This question evaluates collaboration, communication, accountability, and whether you can contribute effectively in team-based finance environments with shared deadlines and interdependent work streams. Make sure to cover the task, your role, how the team divided responsibilities, how you handled coordination, and what result was achieved. During a college financial analysis project, our team had to evaluate a listed company and present investment insights. I took responsibility for analyzing profitability, liquidity, and cash flow trends, while others covered industry research and valuation. We scheduled check-ins to align assumptions and avoid inconsistent conclusions. When one section was delayed, I helped clean the data so the presentation stayed on track. The final output was well-structured, and we received strong feedback for clarity. Question 8. Tell me about a time you made a mistake. The interviewer wants to assess accountability, learning mindset, judgment under pressure, and whether you take corrective action instead of hiding or blaming others. Be sure to mention a specific mistake, its consequence, how you corrected it, and what control or habit you built afterward to prevent recurrence. In one project, I once used an outdated data file while preparing a ratio analysis summary. I noticed the issue during review because totals didn't match the latest financial statements. I immediately corrected the file, informed my team, and rechecked the affected calculations. The lesson was clear. Version control matters. Since then, I label files properly, confirm source dates before analysis, and keep a simple audit trail for important work. Question 9. Give an example of when you showed leadership. This question evaluates initiative, influence, responsibility, and whether you can lead without formal authority by organizing work, solving problems, and helping others perform better. While answering, focus on a situation where you took ownership, coordinated people, resolved confusion, or improved output. Show measurable or visible impact where possible. In a group assignment, our team was struggling because everyone was working separately and the final report lacked direction. I suggested we first agree on the key message, then divide sections based on strengths. I created a simple timeline, tracked completion, and reviewed the final document for consistency. I wasn't the official leader, but I took responsibility for structure. The project became more focused, and we submitted it before the deadline. Question 10. How do you handle pressure and tight deadlines? The interviewer is testing your ability to prioritize, stay accurate, communicate early, and manage stress in finance environments where month-end, reporting, and client deadlines are common. In your answer, talk about prioritization, breaking tasks into steps, identifying critical items, communicating risks early, and maintaining quality checks even when time is limited. I handle pressure by getting organized quickly. First, I identify the deadline, the most critical deliverables, and any dependencies. Then I break the work into smaller steps and focus on the items with the highest impact or risk. If I see a delay, I communicate early rather than waiting until the last minute. I also keep basic checks in place because speed without accuracy is dangerous in finance. Question 11. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? This question evaluates ambition, career planning, commitment, and whether your long-term goals align with the role, team structure, and realistic progression in finance or accounting. Make sure to cover skill development, technical depth, ownership, professional credibility, and growth within the function. Avoid sounding unrealistic or suggesting the role is only a short stop. In 5 years, I see myself as a strong finance professional who can handle complex work independently and support decision-making with reliable analysis. In the short term, I want to build technical depth in accounting, reporting, Excel, and business understanding. Over time, I'd like to take more ownership, guide junior team members, and interact confidently with stakeholders. My focus is to grow steadily by becoming dependable, accurate, and commercially aware. Question 12. Why should we hire you? The interviewer wants to assess your value proposition, confidence, role fit, and ability to summarize skills, attitude, and motivation in a persuasive but realistic way. Be sure to mention relevant technical foundation, learning ability, attention to detail, work ethic, and cultural fit. Link your strengths directly to the role's requirements. You should hire me because I bring a strong finance foundation, attention to detail, and a serious attitude toward learning and execution. I may not know everything on day one, but I learn quickly, ask thoughtful questions, and take ownership of assigned work. I'm comfortable with numbers, Excel, documentation, and deadlines. Most importantly, I understand that finance roles require trust, accuracy, and consistency. And those are qualities I'm committed to building every day. Question 13. Why did you choose your degree, course, or certification? This question evaluates whether your academic choices were thoughtful, whether you can connect education to career goals, and whether your foundation supports the role you are interviewing for. While answering, focus on your interest in business, finance, accounting, analytics, or markets. Explain how the course built relevant knowledge and influenced your career direction. I chose my finance-focused education because I wanted to understand how businesses measure performance, raise capital, manage costs, and make investment decisions. The course gave me exposure to accounting, corporate finance, taxation, and financial analysis, which helped me identify where my interests are strongest. I particularly enjoyed subjects that connected numbers with business reasoning. That academic foundation is one reason I'm pursuing roles where I can apply finance concepts practically. Question 14. Tell me about an ethical dilemma or a situation where integrity mattered. The interviewer is testing your judgment, honesty, professional standards, and willingness to protect accuracy and compliance even when shortcuts or pressure are present. In your answer, talk about the situation, the ethical issue, the action you took, and why transparency mattered. Keep the example professional and avoid criticizing others harshly. In a project, a teammate suggested we estimate missing figures instead of verifying them because the deadline was close. I was uncomfortable with that because the analysis would look precise but be unreliable. I suggested we clearly mark unavailable data, use only verified numbers, and explain the limitation in our presentation. It took slightly longer, but the work was honest. In finance, credibility depends on transparency, not just presenting a polished output. Question 15. Do you have any questions for us? This question evaluates preparation, curiosity, seriousness about the opportunity, and whether you think beyond getting selected to understanding the team, role expectations, and growth path. Make sure to ask thoughtful questions about responsibilities, success metrics, training, team structure, tools, stakeholder interaction, or upcoming priorities. Avoid questions focused only on salary or leave. Yes, I'd like to understand what success looks like in the first 6 months for this role. I'm also curious about the main tools and reports the team uses regularly, and how new joiners are trained during the initial period. Finally, I'd like to know which qualities differentiate high performers in this team. These answers would help me understand expectations clearly and prepare myself to contribute effectively from the beginning. If you are still with us, congratulations. You are much ahead of the rest and serious about preparing for your interview. We hope we were able to add value to your preparation and create some helpful content. Do not forget to like and share this video. Your small act can do great things for us.